know that.
Everything is 100% family influence.
You need to know that.
And
So,
I'm talking about even down to my business colors. My colors are gold and teal, and I chose teal because teal is a color for ovarian cancer. And in 2008, my grandmother passed away from ovarian cancer.
oh, okay.
No, in 2009, that's when it was, because it was the same year that Jada. She passed away in April, and Jada was born in August. So everything that I do pretty much it got some color of teal in it. If it's something that's personal to me, I either, because I mean we do a lot with the Georgia Ovarian Cancer Alliance and all that. So I've had my grandmother passed away in April from it, and then I had a cousin that passed away from ovarian cancer about 4 years ago.
Well, rest in peace to your grandma. I know she's definitely proud of you.
Definitely.
When you're doing business, a lot of times, family especially, can be help or hurt, but it can be a big help. But when you have a deceased relative, that does a lot of time help prepare you into entrepreneurship somehow, some way. Like I read a book, I read a lot of books, but this particular book, they were talking about how the lady who started MAAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MADD,
yeah.
you know, she lost her son
to a drunk driver,
and ended up turning that into a business. You know, so it is light at the end of the tunnel, or ways you can make positive out of a negative.
Definitely.
A lot of the things that I do, my mom passed when I was 4. I talk about that on one of my episodes, but yeah, that definitely pushes me to do a lot of the things I do.
Yeah,
her memory.
Yeah, it gives you a lot. I mean, it gives you a different sense of purpose. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's kind of like you doing things that you know that they would want you to do.
Right.
You know, or fulfilling something that, but sometimes it could be something that they wanted to do on their own. They just didn't get a chance to totally fulfill it. Just like, I'm sure you heard of that business called the Crack House, the candy grapes.
Oh, yeah, crack grapes.
Yeah. It's called. Well, I think the official name of it is Crack House Grapes, but they started. Their mom was on an episode of Shark Tank, and she passed away not too long before that whole series was finished, and the kids kind of picked up where she left off with doing candy apples, and then they started, experimenting with other fruits and stuff, and that's one of the largest candy grape company, businesses, if not the biggest one in Atlanta that I've heard of. They're real popular on Instagram too.
I didn't even know they started in Atlanta.
They got a business. I think the location is over off in Decatur, off of Snapfinger. You know what that building is behind where the Krispy Kreme is, where the China cafeteria used to be at. It's thinking their location is back there.
Okay. So let's talk about Kssd Florist a little bit. When did you get that started, and what was your purpose for creating Kssd Florist?
Well, I've always done when I really got good at doing flowers. I always did flowers on the side, and of course I worked in my uncle's flower shop. I worked at a flower shop in Albany when I went to school there called Kssd Florist. I mean, not Kssd Florist. It's called Kssd Florist, and it was a family-owned flower shop as well. So I've always been, like you said, I did flowers for you when we was in high school, the prom and all that kind of stuff. So it's always been a
it was Kssd Florist then.
No. It wasn't Kssd Florist, but I've always, I was doing flowers back then. But when my uncles decided to retire officially by selling the building in October of 2018, then I said, okay, this might be a good time to take my official leap. And I came home, told Judge, I was like, babe, they finna officially sell the building. He was like, sell the building? I was like, yeah. He was like, Fluff finna sell the shop? I was like, yeah. He was like, you wanna try to get the shop? I said, listen, one thing my uncles always told me is he don't need a building to do flowers. I can do flowers in the back of my car. You know what I mean? So I was like, I ain't necessarily ready for that part yet, but I mean, this might be the beginning of something for me, to carry on the torch. And they, like I said, they closed the business. They sold the building in October 2018, and I had already started the process of getting my business license and stuff in 2017. And once they closed in February of 2018, we had kind of discussed me getting to a point where I took a chance on myself. Because John always called it, well, he was like, well, it's time for you to gamble on yourself. It's time for you to gamble on yourself. Because I worked in retail for 20 years almost.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked at Sports Store for 17 years after they closed. Then I ended up at CVS, and I worked there for about almost 3 years. And I came home, and he was like, listen.
So you do have retail experience.
Yeah.
Corporate.
Yeah. I was the operations manager for about 12 of those years. Well, in management, shall I say, I like operations the most, and that's what I ended up doing. But once I decided to kind of step out and do the flower thing, John was like, it's time for you to officially gamble on yourself, because he was like, you work so many hours for everybody else, think about if you put that same amount of time that you put into developing somebody else's dream, what it could possibly do for you. And to be honest, I was terrified, because like I said, I always had a regular 9 to 5. Well, not necessarily 9 to 5, but I always had
corporate.
A regular corporate job, So once he officially assured me that he was ready to go, financially or whatever, I was like, okay, cool.
He had your back.
Yeah.
That's
So
important.
I said, well, okay, cool. We'll try it and see what happens. And I thank God I haven't had to turn back yet.